students.
There's no school without their 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 teachers.
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 You can't stop the revolution.
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 You will get livable wages.
We will get livable wages.
We will get livable wages.
We will get livable wages.
Minnesota is a union state, Minneapolis is a union city, and we are here to show Minneapolis Public Schools that these students and these educators are going to get what they deserve. Thank you.
Hi everybody, how's it going? My name is David Gilbert Pedersen. I'm an organizer at AFSCME 3800, the clerical workers at the U of M. I guess I would say I'm an adopted son of MFT. I'm on full-time release right now, have been for the last month doing work with them until we get a fair contract. So I've had the privilege of helping coordinate all of our community solidarity work. So incredible thank you to Kieran and to Kip and to President Burnham and to all of the incredible people and organizations and unionists and just general residents of this city who are here to stand up for our educators. Right now, you won't see our elected leadership here, and our bargaining team is right across the street inside the Brick Davis Center here, bargaining day in and day out for a fair contract. The corporate media and the district admin would like us to believe that the union is just Sean and Greta making decisions without other educators, but we know that that's not the truth. As unionists, what we know is that rank and file members make up our unions. That it's teachers, the people that we entrust with our children every single day, who make up this union. They can't third party the union. They can't say, well, we love our teachers, we just don't love the union. Because what I hear when I hear that is, we love teachers, we just don't like it when they use their collective voice to stand up for better working conditions for themselves. We don't like it when they use their voice to stand up for better learning conditions for our kids. And in particular, rich people don't like it when educators come together and use their voices to put an end to the corporate creep takeover of our public education system. This strike is driven by rank and file educators who are in the classroom every day with our children. It's a really big honor to introduce Beth Gill, a rank and file educator and MFT member, and somebody who is helping make this strike happen. Beth Gill, MFT leader.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. My name is Beth Gill. I am a rank and file MFT member. I teach the 5th grade class in Whittier Elementary. I have 2 daughters that also attend Whittier Elementary as well. I am an MPS parent. I'm also a member of the Democratic Socialists of America. I'm a socialist. But my favorite chant being on the line for these last 9 days, I say, who are we? And y'all say MFT. I say 59, and y'all say on the line. Who are we?
MFT!
59!
On the line!
Who are we?
MFT!
59!
On the line!
But we're more than MFT. Look around at our union siblings gathered here to support our struggle. They're out here on the line with us. They have our backs. When their fights come, we'll have their backs. Twin Cities are union towns. I speak to you as a member of the working class. That means those of us who wake up every day and go to work. Through illness, through death, through murder, low pay, and a lack of respect on the job. We're all out here for personal reasons. What gets us out of bed every day to go to work is a personal reason. But when we stand together as working siblings, we stand for one thing. We want more. We want more for ourselves, for our families. We want more for our communities. Because the fact of the matter is, there are very few people in the world who have more, who have too much. People whose obscene wealth could provide more for all of us, if only they're willing to share it. Withholding our labor, or what I like to call shutting it down, that's our most powerful way to demand more. We demand more and we deserve more. Bus drivers deserve more. Food service workers deserve more. The working class deserves more. Strikes have always been necessary for workers to end a shorter workday, better pay, safer working conditions. Those at the top will do well to remember this isn't the first strike, and it cannot be the last until workers and everyone else get what they deserve. We socialists see strikes and unions not only as powerful checks on those with wealth and power at the top, but also as incubators for something so much more. When workers go on strike, they need to rely on each other more than ever before. And in doing so, we break down these divisions between us. We form bonds that eat away at the oppressions like racism, sexism, homophobia, things that plague us. MFT has begun this process when our teachers and ESPs organize and bargain together for the first time. This power we're wielding, holding the line, does not disappear when we go back to work. We're going to take this unity, this love, this solidarity back into the schools and our workplaces and stand shoulder to shoulder to fight for what's right every day. Like using the $9 billion to ensure that none of our educators are laid off. We're in this fight to make a better life for every single human on this planet. A planet we've polluted so much that our very ability to live on it could be in question. Our power comes when we stand together. Together we are unstoppable. Together we can change the world. I'll end up with my second favorite chant, which is get up, get down. Twin Cities are some union towns. Get up, get down. Twin Cities are some union towns. Get up, get down. Twin Cities are some union towns. Thank you.
Let's remember who our friends are, especially when we're fighting. I want to list off some of the unions that are here today, and I want you to respond with Minneapolis is a union town, all right? AFSCME. ATU.
Minneapolis is a union town.
CWA.
Minneapolis is a union town.
OPEIU.
Minneapolis is a union town.
SEIU.
Minneapolis is a union town.
Teamsters.
Minneapolis is a union town.
Thank you so much, MAPE. Don't let me forget MAPE.
Minneapolis is a union town.
And very close to my heart are the nurses from the Minnesota Nurses Association. I live with a nurse who is a night shift worker and who not only takes care of her pediatric patients for 12-hour shifts overnight, but also has to fight against these companies that actually wanted to lay off nurses in the middle of a pandemic. And now they're fighting for their own contract as well. So I want to welcome the president of the Minnesota Nurses Association, Mary Turner.
As the gentleman says, I'm Mary Turner, president of the Minnesota Nurses Association. More importantly, I've been a COVID ICU nurse at North Memorial in Robbinsdale, right down the road, for the last 7 years. And like I said last week, I said nurses and teachers, when I listen to your rhetoric, I could be writing my own speech. When you talk about lack of resources,
When you talk about doing more with less, all right? When you talk about too many students to teach at one time, and we got too many patients to take care of at one time, all right? We're one and the same, all right? Guys, just close your ears. I'm sorry, but we are the women-dominated unions here. You know, there's a storm coming. You can't tell right now. There ain't a cloud in the sky. But there's a storm coming. It's been coming. It's called the workers are standing up all across America. And of course, Minnesota is leading the way as always. You know, because we always do. Now listen, I wasn't able to be there on the line as much this week, but I'll tell you why I didn't stop working for you because I had my board meeting on Wednesday. And our board, you will be getting a check coming your way tomorrow for $10,000 for the nurses strike fund. And then not doing it gets over quick, and you can just dole out the money to go have a beer and celebrate, okay? All right? But I tell you what, we are with you. We started out, we gave our proposals this week. It doesn't look any better. Doesn't look any better, and I don't want to freak out any young nurses out there, but we may all see everyone on the strike line. But we, damn it, do it in June, okay, people? In June. None of this below weather. All right, so we're here. We're supporting you. We believe in you because we have the same fight. We have the same fight, and because of that, we got a lot of people, and we will prevail, okay? The big money guys can only go so long if we shut down this city, because this is one last thing I said the other day. The nurses and the teachers, we keep the community running. And if we leave the job, the whole community shuts down. So just remember that. Without us, the doors of the hospital close. Without us, the doors of the schools close, right? So have faith, and just remember, the nurses are here to pick up any pieces, okay? All right, we always will be. All right, thank you.
I think we know theoretically the importance of this fight. The importance of smaller class sizes for our kids, the importance of recruitment and retention of educators of color, the importance of more mental health supports in the classroom. But it sometimes is easy in the theoretical discussion about the importance of this strike to forget about the fact that our neighborhoods were under siege from the Minneapolis Police Department, from our elected officials, from white supremacists, and that our educators held our kids down and held our communities down. When the pandemic stripped resources out of our communities and people couldn't get adequate food, it was educators who came to mutual aid sites and donated food. When we were doing work to keep people safe during the middle of the uprising, it was educators on the front lines acting as medics and acting as marshals and acting as people who live in this city who are standing up for justice. And somebody who I've been standing up for justice with for many, many years, we met only a few blocks away from here after Jamar Clark was killed in 2015. Somebody who's been struggling on the front lines for black liberation for a long, long time, and somebody who's been in our classrooms and interacting and teaching our young people. Loretta Van Pelt is an incredible rank and file leader of this union. I also sit on a national board at the National Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression with Loretta. So it's my incredible honor to introduce Loretta Van Pelt.
I'm always asked how I'm doing these days. And I'm not gonna lie, this shit's exhausting. Excuse my French, but it is. It's exhausting. But what's more exhausting is what the people in that building are doing to us. Every day. Every day. I'm a special education teacher at Whittier. And let me tell you, if you think it's rough in the general education side, the special education side, we get no love. And so I've been grateful for this solidarity. I've been grateful for this solidarity. And I've been learning through the last 2 weeks that our community has had our back this whole time. You know, they tried, the people in that building tried to say that no one's going to support us, that the parents are going to be upset. I got Somali tea and sambusas. I got the coffee shop across the street from where we picket. It leaves us coffee and bagels and challah bread every Friday. So, you know what? That's a lie. This community has stood up for us. And because they know we stand up for their kids every day. Another thing is my activist side and my teaching side have all been colliding in these last 2 weeks. Someone wanted me to make a sign with Ed Graff's phone number, the district number, and I was like, can I put the cell phone number down? Because I mean, and that's that. But I mean, we got to keep the pressure on him. We got to keep the pressure on these people who are just holding this money and saying they don't got it. They got it. They totally have that money. They can do the small class sizes. They can hire and retain BIPOC teachers. They can make sure people like me have small caseloads.
Thank you.
So they. So I just want to say, I know we're going to go into another week of this or another few days of this, and I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to fight because I've actually been ready to fight since I was in ESP. I started out as an ESP in this district. And I know what, so I've seen both sides. I know what it's like to make only $24,000 a year and try to raise 2 children on that. And I know what it's like to struggle as a teacher now. And so I thank everyone for coming out and showing up. I thank everyone for coming to our picket at Whittier. We have the most lit picket. I'm just going to be biased. Come to 26th and Lindale and party it up with us. So let's keep it going. So solidarity!
When public education is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When teachers are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When ESPs are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When the community is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When the working class is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Thanks so much for being here. Again, let's remember our friends. Let's remember our friends. I also want to recognize a couple more unions that I see represented out here today. I know IATSE workers are here. I see UFCW workers here. And I see Unite Here workers here. One of the great things about this strike is I went to a soccer game last night with my son who's on strike at Anderson Middle School. Give it up to Anderson. And he was wearing his MFT gear, and several times throughout the game, people came up to him, grabbed his arm, and said, "Hold the line." Because those colors now are imprinted in the knowledge and memory of this city as a symbol of strike and of workers' power. And I think it's so great that we see the whole rainbow of the union family out here today. My own union, CWA, uses red, like Michelle and Kathleen and David here. And I know that there's a purple SEIU. We all know that SEIU rocks that purple. We know the nurses rock that red on the picket lines.
If you've been on strike or have had a big fight in your local, you know this next speaker. She is on the forefront of our fights for liberation, for class justice in our city, and is also just one of the best trade unionists that our movement has. Carrie Jo Felder from the Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation.
So I'm Carrie Jo Felder. I work with the Minneapolis Regional Labor Federation. I am a community organizer, and I was hired for that because at heart, every day I'm a community activist. I was the first person of color hired there, and I've been making elbow room ever since. And I was sitting at my computer trying to work on my campaign when I got a call and said, "Oh, somebody from the MRLF has to go and speak today." And I waited, and the cursor was still blinking on a blank page, and I waited, and then finally I go, me, period. When Martin Luther King was down supporting the sanitation workers, it was part of a larger campaign. It was part of the people's campaign, the poor people's campaign. And that's housing, education, and jobs. Teachers are 2/3 of that, and their outcomes decide what kind of housing people get. Right? So this is very important that we put this all together and how entwined it should be. Because we shouldn't have people who are working with our kids sleeping in cars. We shouldn't have people working with our kids who are sleeping in cars with their kids. Get out of here. That is not who we are. And being black in the union, I know sometimes things fly in rooms. But whenever you hear something that's not supposed to be, I need you to go, that's not who we are. We are the union. We are the union. We are the union. And we're going to fight for our kids. We're going to fight for our teachers. We're going to fight for our ESPs and make this right. So then I was supposed to ask you guys for money, which I will do later. But first, I just want you to know, I only got on the school board because I wanted to save North High School. I went knocking on doors, and Steve Fletcher from Knock was like, you have talent. And I was like, yeah, people like me. Right? And he goes, no, it's something different. Have you ever thought about organizing? I'm like, I don't even know what that is. But from there, I got to learn all the way. So that when I walk into a room and somebody says, oh yeah, that EAS was with that TOSA, and they were talking about that kid's ESP, they found out that it was BS. I understand all of that. And so the thing is that we're down here, we're fighting for money for the people who are taking care of our kids day in and day out, taking care of our communities day in and day out. But there's a bigger fight that's attached to that. And that is called fully funding public schools. So I'm going to pretend I'm a teacher, and I just want to educate you for a moment that it's very important that you also take this back to your unions, so that when everybody say, oh, we're going to go fight for fully funding public schools, you know that if a child does have an IEP, an individualized education plan, that we only get 10% of the funding for that. The other 90% comes out of the money that your kids and your kids and your kids and our kids, my kids, right? And so they keep pulling that over. And it doesn't matter if it's a public school, if it's a charter school or a church school, same thing. We still pay it. And they've been leaking this balloon, which is MPS, which is all of our schools who have to deal with circumstances that have been created by somebody who is greedy, right? We have to deal with that. And so I want you guys to know and educate yourself about fully funding public schools. Now, another thing I notice when I'm out on the line sometimes is that some people don't know what it's like to be poor. They don't know what it's like to be poor. When you have 6 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment, and we're all in the closet, it's got 4 tiers, and all 4 of us are in there talking to each other about, ooh, my house is gonna look like this, and my house is gonna look like that. Right? When your mom is calling from work to make something for the kids, and you're looking at ramen noodles, that good government cheese, and there's 3 slices of bread, and you're trying to figure it out poor. So we have to realize that when we're helping some of our teachers and our ESPs, is that they're not starting off from we are, and it's going 2 weeks. They're starting off poor. And they've already been robbing Peter to pay Paul and to do certain things. And so I'm going to need you to take that back to your unions and say, please, can you do just a little more? We need $500,000 more dollars just to make sure that people are taken care of right now. Not next week, right now. There is no reserve. So please keep it coming. Please think about the things that I've said and just go forward, being humanistic, being fighters that you are, because I see you guys all the time. Give yourselves a round of applause. And help these teachers and ESPs win this fight, because eventually they're going to decide the outcomes, down the lane. So thank you very much.
How insane is it that people had to organize and fight to keep one of the most important institutions in this city, North High School, open?
It's really right.
What kind of insanity do our leaders have that was even considered?
They're crazy.
Part of it is they're so removed from the reality of working class life. Ed Graff, who I like to call Edina Graff, doesn't even live in the city that he runs the schools for. His kids don't even go to the schools that he's in charge of. But it's not just about an individual, it's about a whole class of people that have power and control over our lives.
Right.
Even though we're the ones that do the work, we're the ones that make the profits for them, we're the ones who make things run, whether it's transportation, whether it's the schools, whether it's the hospitals, whether it's the factories. It's the workers who make the power. So let's start using it. One of the other realities that those people are removed from is the brutality of the Minneapolis police. But our kids know about it. The students in the Minneapolis public schools know about it. In fact, it was them more than anyone that made the world wake up and listen to it. And many people here have kept that fight going. And it didn't start with George Floyd. And unfortunately, it hasn't ended with George Floyd either. But in particular, one of the eruptions that galvanized the movement to be, and gave us training to be prepared for George Floyd, was when the Minneapolis police killed Jamar Clark, not far from here. And one of the organizations that's been organizing and fighting since those days is the Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar. And let's welcome one of the organizers, DJ, to say a few words.
Woo! Welcome to spring. Let me shut up before it's done next week on me. And yeah, I think that's important to realize, right? We had this uprising with Floyd, and we had so many people that were out here, right? But that wasn't random, right? That just didn't happen. That happened because we've been organizing for years, right? That happened because we have these organizations like TCC4J, like the Racial Justice Network, like Community Supporting Community, right? Like, this happened because we have this organization. And the same is true with this strike. Y'all didn't just decide on the whim that y'all were going to go out and fight for these wages. Y'all have been building this fight for a decade here, right? We need to make sure that we're organizing, right? So what I want to talk about is I want to talk about a lot of these black elected officials, right? Because a lot of them are up there and they keep saying the union's so white. The union don't care about black workers, right? Like, they keep doing this whole thing. But like, the union doesn't hire people, right? Right. I'm not sure who needs to hear about unions, but that's not the union's job. If the union's too white, that's because you keep hiring white people. Like, and if you're in the power to change that, why are you out here trying to blame them for it? They out here gaslighting the union in the media. And so I think we need to keep that understanding, right? We also need to understand that we need to be out here supporting these ESPs, right? And I know there seems to be a lot of confusion, right? Because I know a lot of people are like, I support the ESPs, right? but I'm not sure if I support the MSTs. And I was like, it's a bundle package, right? Like, I've got to support both, right? That's just some weird type of energy. That's why we got to stand up for the ESPs and the teachers. So I'm not going to come up here and tell you that the union is perfect. You know, the union got stuff that need to work on, especially when it comes to defending black and brown workers. Like, the union can do a lot more. And I say that as a member of ASPE 2822. But the union is what we got to protect ourselves in our workplace. We need to protect our union. Because here's the thing, they keep going in there and they keep saying, we don't have the money, right? Like, Aircraft's like, we don't have the money. They got their reserves, the state got their surplus, right? You know, Mayor Fry decided he's gonna give the MPD bonuses everywhere for the cops. They got money for cops, they always got money for cops. But they don't want to invest in education, right? They don't want to invest in housing. They never want to invest in the things that actually would prevent crime, right? They just want to over-police our neighborhoods. That's what they want to do. With that being said, we need to make sure that we support these teachers, right? And ESPs, because the thing is, they're not just fighting for themselves, right? The reason why they're out here fighting these teachers and ESPs so hard is because they know if they win and they get this 20% bonus and they get this $11,000 for the ESPs, we're all coming for that money because we're all going to get paid what we're worth. I bet you right now Ed Graff's getting in there getting calls from all the politicians across town trying to tell them, hold the line, don't give them what they want. But they just keep cracking, right? Last week, Josh Hawley, right? Which resigned, which was crazy because we was out at his house last Sunday and I was chanting, and 2 days later I was like, oh, he resigned? I pulled up at a decent amount of politicians' house. They usually don't resign that quickly. He wasn't ready for this smoke, okay? So they're crumbling, y'all. And it's just a matter, it's not a matter of if it's gonna happen, it's just a matter of when, right? Because we're going to get these livable wages, right? Like, you know, I believe that we're gonna win, but I also know that we're gonna win, okay? I also want to give a little shout out to Tim Walks, right? Because, you know, I remember all the time, you know, he comes and says hi to ASPE and stuff, and everyone, and all the labor people like to say, he's a head organizer in charge, you know. He always comes and he says, oh, I'm a teacher, right? I'm a teacher union, trust me. Where the fuck you been? Oh, excuse my language. Where you been? Where's Tim Walsh? This is where we need him. I mean, it's so specific, it's crazy. It's a teacher union, and that's what you ran on. Where you at? Where's our statement of support? Where you at on the picket line? You just across town? Yeah, we was outside his house last week. He didn't even come out and talk to anyone. Where you at, man? These politicians, right? Because we need to make sure we support these teachers, support these ESPs, and we need to keep the fight going. And let these politicians know that the Twin Cities is a union town. All power to the people!
And so when we pushed him on where all the money from the government went and what about the $9 billion that the state has, first he tried to tell us, like I said, that they had been using some of it. And then when we pushed him more, his only excuse was, oh, how hard the pandemic was. Oh, COVID was so hard for all of them. So, you know, it was really hard to give us the resources that we need to survive. He acted as if he understood what we had gone through, as if he had been there in online school,
students failing and teachers unable to connect with people like going hungry. And he acted as if he was there at my school when we've had week-long code reds, our school locked down to try and prevent massive fights. When a kid brought a gun to school, he acted as if he understood that. He was with us. He's on our side when he's not. He's not on our side. He doesn't understand what we're going through. They can't keep pretending that they know what we're going through when they can't even fathom. They sit up there in their chairs acting as if they're on our side. They're doing what's best for us when they are just denying us the resources that we need to survive, but not only thrive. We deserve to thrive. Their job is to help us thrive, and they do not do their job. They do not care about us. And you know, it was really cute. When we had said that we hadn't seen any of the money, that we hadn't seen any changes, he said, well, you haven't really been in school. I mean, you know, online school, that doesn't count, obviously. That's what he said. He said that we wouldn't know if there was any changes because we hadn't actually been there. He hasn't actually been there. Are you fucking kidding me? And that's what made me really mad. He tried to gaslight us and tell us that we didn't know what we were going through, but we do. We know what we need. That's why we're here today, right? The union knows what we need. The teachers, they know what they need. They're supposed to listen to us, and they don't. But that's what we have to make them listen, and that's what we're doing right here today, right? We're gonna make them listen, and we won't give up until they listen, until they do what we ask them to. In situations like this that require drastic change, the people should be able to see the drastic change that you claim to be making. I haven't seen any of that change. MPS continues to try and pit students and teachers against each other. Like he told us we didn't know what we were going through. He also tried to tell us that the teachers were misleading us. He kept implying that we should read the documents ourselves. He tried to make us not believe our teachers, not believe that they had our best interests at heart. That's what they tell the media. That's what they try to project to the world. They try to tell them that the teachers are taking advantage of the students. No, the fuck they are not. No, the students are in such a bad position right now. He obviously wouldn't know, but I know. I see how bad it is every single day that I'm at school. And the teachers are doing this strike is the teachers' effort to make it a better place at school, to make school a safe place, a place that I want to go to, a place where I can get the help that I need. Not a place that I dread going to every day, where the next day could be another lockdown. That's not a place I want to go to. Do you want to go to that? Do you want to send your kids to that? That's not the teacher's fault. That's not the student's fault. That's their fault. That's MPS's fault. The school board and Eric Moore and all those other motherfuckers should stop being cowards and sending their middlemen, well, like Eric Moore, he is a middleman, to talk to us. They should show their faces. They should actually come down here. If they want to pretend that they know what's going on, maybe they should be here to see it. But as everyone said, they don't know how to take the heat. So they either need to show their faces or they need to retire just like Josh Pauly. So we're going to continue fighting together. The students and the teachers, all the educators, all the ESPs, we know what we need. We're fighting for what we need. We are doing what's right. Don't let them lie to you. Don't let them gaslight you. You know your experience. You know your needs. You know your feelings. And we are going to make them all right. We're going to get what we need to not survive, but thrive.